It's me. It's not DDP. It's actually the RVE. I haven't done this show in fucking ages. Making my return to the HeelCast, and I can promise you this show is going to be fire. Even without all these billions of stories to talk about tonight, the reason I can say it's going to be fire is I got a couple here that literally fights like an old married couple, like cats and dogs. Somehow like brothers, although I'm not going to be honest, if there's a marriage that needs to end in a divorce at some point, it's this too. To start it out with me, I've got the king of Fap style, Fap and Hurls with me. Hurls, what's going on, buddy?
You know what? Just doing my second HeelCast, 2 HeelCasts in 2 nights. That's the way I'm rolling in 2020.
No doubt. And it is, and I know I said this last year and failed miserably at it, but one of my many New Year's resolutions is to actually get back to doing the HeelCast regularly again. So my apologies there. Hurls is pretty much the only one of us that holds it down. But with me, I've got Hurls' arch enemy. I've got the notorious CHEF Chef representing Heel Team 6 with me. Chef, what's going, my man?
I'm chilling, baby. Y'all, it's good to be back, man. I miss you crazy ass guys. And yeah, me and Hurls definitely argue like 2 bitches on our period. It's absolutely ridiculous, and thank God none of the shit that we bitch about will ever go public because we're like 2 whores. I'm telling you, it's ridiculous.
It might go public today with this show, but who knows how it's going to go. But, I mean, we'll pretty much hop right in. I mean, we got about 800 topics to talk about because this apparently is the week to come back. And I can't say any words to you guys. I have to, like, go through a third party since I'm still banned on Facebook and can't get into our chat. But, you know, first, of course, HeelCast family, Heel Team 6 family, all that. You know, check out our boy Kyle at the Total Nonstop Impact on BQ's channel at the BQ Lounge, or not BQ Lounge, the Impact Lounge. I'm already fucking up. Larkin with his SNS, or is it, well, what's Larkin? Is it SMS or S&M Podcast?
S&M, brothers, S&M.
I'm rusty. My apologies. Hurls, I know you did a Hard to Kill review in depth yesterday for the HeelCast. It's not out yet. It should be up before at the same time as this show. Who else am I missing? I know Robert's not doing his thing anymore, is he?
No. I think Robert is dealing with all the Puerto Rico madness and everything else.
Yeah, so take care of yourself, Robert. FK9 doesn't do wrestling reviews anymore, but he's blown the fuck up. Who else we got? Griggs, no. AEW dude, no. Who else am I missing?
Well, numero 47 was supposed to have a reunion on the HeelCast, but that didn't work out.
Yeah, maybe one of these days. So I don't feel like I missed anyone's podcast. If I did, my apologies. I'll get you the next time around. But let's hop into the news. We're covering AEW, Impact, NWA, Impact Hour. Even a little bit of Ring of Honor here. But first of all, we're just going to touch on just pro wrestling in general. Sad news broke last night. The father of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, if not the biggest, by far the most successful wrestler in history, his father, Rocky Johnson, passed away. Of course, rest in peace, sad times, and very sad to hear. This man's sperm created Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, for fuck's sake. I mean, this man's sperm is legendary, and it's a true mourning and loss. Chef, did you have any comments on the soul man, Rocky Johnson?
Nah, I mean, to be honest, you hit it off the head. This guy's a straight legend. You know, and I think he was like only like 75, and 75 to me is still very young, and it's just sad when like such a legend like that passes. So like, you know, rest in power and all that other good stuff, because, you know, we lost a real one.
Yeah, I think I didn't really get to watch Rocky Johnson in his day, but I do know, I might be corrected, but I believe he was the first, him and Tony Atlas were the first African-American tag team champions in WWF, so that's pretty something. So, and he spawned The Rock, so what can you say?
Yeah. Very sad, rest in peace, rest in power. Going to be missed for sure. Now we got good news, unfortunately, to counteract the bad at least. But big news also broke yesterday. AEW, All Elite Wrestling, has actually been extended by TNT. Now, I know it's just TNT. We know it's not a major, amazing cable network like the Pursuit Channel or Destination America, but TNT has extended All Elite Wrestling through 2023, looking about $45 million a year. There is an additional option after that for a significant pay increase from what I've read. The show Dark is going to have features added to it, and it's going to come off of YouTube and actually become a secondary channel on one of the Turner networks. So, I mean, this is huge news. Now, Hurls, you've told us all that you expected All Elite Wrestling to last maybe a year. My question to you is, do you need some of JR's barbecue sauce to go with that crow you're eating?
Bring on the barbecue sauce.
All right. Hurls, what are your honest thoughts on AEW, man?
No,
on this extension.
Well, the extension's obviously a great sign. I don't know how you could look at it and say it's not a good sign. Obviously, TNT is very happy. I think them just getting on TNT was a big shot in the arm in the wrestling industry. I mean, obviously they have the money behind it, which obviously helps. But TV networks are strange. Like we found out with Spike TV, right? So the fact that they did get re-signed for an extra 3 more years, that's very telling, and it's definitely a good thing for AEW, no doubt.
Now I know this is I'm going to get a Chef here in a second. I know that this is a phrase that I like to say, much to Chef hating it. But Chef, how do you feel about 4 more years, baby?
Dude, I love it. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm up and down with AEW. I think it's a really good product. I do question a few things, a lot towards the tag team division. We don't have to go into things. But getting this is a big statement because they obviously believe in what they got. I do think that they should have writers as well coming in because, listen, this is 3 more years. You got another show coming, so I think that you can't just willy-nilly it whenever you feel like. So, I mean, I like what's going on. There are some questionable things, but this is huge. And it's not Access or one of these garbage networks that nobody's ever heard of. And, I got to take a shot. I got to do it.
Oh, wow. Go ahead.
I gotta do it, bro. It's killing me we're gonna have some fun with this. It's not a HeelCast unless we can have some fun, and we have fun on here.
We've already had Destination America, Access, and Pursuit Channel references. And, we may as well mention another one. The other huge cable company, Twitch, actually just gave Impact the boot here, at least temporarily. So Impact had been in partner with Twitch, where they were getting about 3,000 views on most weeks, which was sad. And this was when I was still an Impact fan. I'm not knocking, actually. But apparently there was a racy skit with Rob Van Dam and Katie Forbes and whoever their girlfriend were. And I haven't seen the skit. From what I understand, you apparently almost see some titty or something in there. But it violated Twitch's code of conduct with nudity, and they got them off of Impact is off of Twitch. Now, look, I'm not even going to hate, man. RVD is out there living his best life. I have no problems with racier or more adult content. I've actually been clamoring for it. But Hurls, obviously you're going to be the one most affected by this. What is it permanent? Is it temporary? I mean, what's going on here?
From what I understand, they're already in the process of, getting the ban lifted. I don't think it's going to last too long, but I got a question like Twitch, man. Like, you can't show a little titty, but you can kill anybody you want in Grand Theft Auto, right? Isn't that kind of weird if you really think about it? But I don't know. I think I loved the segment. I thought it was great. I mean, it was kind of Attitude Era-ish. I like the new direction with Rob Van Dam, but I don't know. I think Impact's I don't think they should have to do their show where they have to rely on, what Twitch's standards are, because they got access now. So that's how I'm watching it. I know a lot of people cut the cord and Twitch is free, but it's going to have to suck when you're going to have to look at everything on your show and you're going to have to edit out some stuff just for Twitch so you don't get banned again.
No, Go ahead.
I just wanted to explain to the Impact fans on why that happened, though. Because Hurls, listen, for all the Impact fans should be mad at Hurls. Because in that chat we talk in, Hurls took a shot about them kicking New Japan out, and like 3 hours later, Karma kicked Hurls in the ass because fucking Twitch, they put the boost to the asses to Impact as well. So, like, you know, Hurls jinxed it. So if anybody should be mad at somebody, it shouldn't be at Nordholm or Twitch or Impact. It should be Hurls, to be honest with you.
That was the best move that Anthem made, kicking New Japan off that network. for my personal opinion, and for business standpoint. And I'll tell you why. Because New Japan doesn't want to work with Impact. Mainly because of what happened back when they had their original partnership in 2010. They're still bitter, like a ex-girlfriend, you know. So I actually do not blame Anthem for that. I think if they don't want to work with you, they're on your network. You kind of have the say at that point. So I'm like, you know what? If you don't want to work with us, then fine. You know, get on with you then.
But here's the thing. Now, that's cool. That's cool. If they're gone, peace God, all that other good stuff. But the Twitch thing actually will hurt them on their social media look, because it's like we've been putting their logo on our stuff and, you know, Impact Twitch, and then all of a sudden this happens. Look, I'm not mad at RVD. Do your thing, player. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's like damn near 50 years old. This chick, I think, Hurls, you said she's what, 29?
Yeah, she's 29.
All right. So obviously, and I mean, look, RVD was cool 20, 25 years ago. His time has been past. But he must be swinging fucking Thor's hammer or something, because to have two hot chicks at 29 years old while you 50, my man is swinging the hammer. You know what I mean? So God bless the guy. If Twitch is a little sensitive and they say, you know, we don't want to work with Impact, that's fine. I got no problem with that, because I'm an Impact hater. So, you know, it is what it is.
You know what?
You know, man, you can't fault RVD. I mean, props to the guy. Hurls, you go ahead with what you're saying. My apologies.
I was just gonna say, like, I'm giving Impact a ton of credit here, because they had the balls to actually turn RVD's character that was probably stale for the last 5 years at least, turn it into something new. So that's what I really like about Impact, was where guys can go reinvent their character, and then when they become attractive to WWE, you know what I'm saying, they get that big money deal. But still, I think Impact's done something different with RVD, which kind of makes him stand out a lot more than I'm paying attention to him. I mean, I was always an RVD fan. Yeah, go ahead.
My thing, and RVD is a flippy kind of guy, right? I mean, he's a good technical wrestler too. Let's not take that away from him. But he's known for his like high flying stuff, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
Okay, so and I get what you're saying, and I hate dinosaurs. It's a rift that I have with wrestlers that hang on way too long. But at this point, they have a stable. I mean, you know how many young guys that Impact has, and I don't even watch the product, but talking to you, I know who they have that can do what he does at a higher level. And Desmond Xavier, who we all are super fans of, should be having his push. That's my beef with these old guys, and we'll eventually get into NWA. But I do feel like guys like RVD, Sabu, whoever the other old dinosaur is that I'll forget in a minute, but like Ken Shamrock, who's running through people, like, enough is enough with this shit. You know what I mean? Like, the thing is, we keep saying to build your product, you need to build your stars. How are you going to build your stars when you keep pushing these dinosaurs?
Oh yeah, no, I totally know that's your opinion, and that's I respect it, and you definitely have a point. I'm just I like the star power. Like, and when I watched WCW, a lot of those guys were probably past their prime. Well, I don't want to say a lot, but when I watched WCW, there was a lot of, let's just say, veterans on the roster. But to me, that helped me because I knew who all those guys were. I think like these young guys who want to come out there and get that TV time, they got to earn it, and they got to impress the fans. And I'm not saying that like a guy like Desmond Xavier's not doing that, not at all. But I'm just saying for like maybe some other guys who aren't getting that screen time, maybe they got to develop the character. Maybe they got to learn a little more psychology, more charisma. You know what I mean?
No, I just want to say a couple things here, and then I'm actually going to ask for one more question before we move on here. But I mean, you mentioned how some of the older roster guys can come back to Impact and reinvent themselves. And I mean, as far as Ken Shamrock goes, it's worked. You went from having a respected, retired pro wrestling career to becoming a joke in MMA to coming into Impact and grabbing Joey Ryan's penis and totally getting all the respect back from your peers. This Anthem Impact or the Anthem and New Japan thing, I'll take Hurls' side on this. I don't blame Anthem. I figure if you're, for one, yeah, they're still salty about some shit that happened years ago, and I'm sorry to break the mold to a lot of these marks that are going to hear this. Okada would not have gotten over in the United States 10 years ago, and he won't get over now. So New Japan could kind of stop that bitterness. And then on top of it, if they're working with Ring of Honor, who's literally basically on their last limbs and actually has less talent than Impact, they should be willing to work with Impact, honestly. If the company that's actually putting your product on the air says to do that, because just about every other wrestling product has done that for the company that they work for. Remember Bigfoot on Destination America and so forth. They should be able to do that. And truthfully, I mean, then again, Ring of Honor doesn't have a woman as their champion. They had Dalton Castle as a pedophile, but they don't have a fucking woman. But Hurls, what exactly was so racy about this skit that got them in trouble? Can you just sum this up for me?
Yeah, just basically RVD was just his whole gimmick's how these guys, the younger wrestlers are basically just copying him and paying homage to him, and he's just basically saying you guys don't live your life like RVD because I'm on top all the time and I'm winning all the time, and then it kind of got more like Katie Forbes comes in there, Jennifer the girlfriend comes in there, and then they start kind of taking off their clothes, like let's have a party type thing, and then they kind of start teasing. They're taking off Rob Van Dam's robe and basically, kind of teasing that. They go under the covers, blah blah blah. RVD's got lipstick all over him, and then it kind of just ends like that. So, if I had to compare it to something, it was like kind of like Edge and Lita's live sex celebration, but in a backstage skit, kind of.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Was it any was it any more lewd or anything like that?
Well, I mean, they obviously had their asses to the camera, and then they had a bunch of side boob. I think they did get blurred out at one point. It was pretty. Yeah, it was pretty. Like, it was like practically almost. You could almost see the nip. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, it was pretty racy. Like their whole backside was facing the camera while they were talking to Van Dam. So I mean, yeah, I could see it.
I know that's an angle, but like in real life, that's a shoot, and RVD's doing that. I mean, you can't fucking hate on the guy. That's all I'm saying. So moving on from Ken Shamrock to Ken Shamcook to actually back to All Elite. Now, we got that $45 million a year, AEW profitable. I do agree with Chef, and I'm sure Hurls feels the same thing with writers or bookers, and good God, they need to cut some talent and get some more. And that's a topic for a different show, hopefully next week. But so, ironically, the first person that AEW has went out and signed is Taz. So I'm assuming Taz is just going to go back to commentary. I've heard rumors like he could be the commissioner for AEW. Maybe we could see him in a management role because AEW also uses managers. But Taz is the first signing. I don't necessarily know that it's necessary. I'm going to guess maybe him or Excalibur is going to be doing the commentary for the Dark Show. I don't know. We'll start with Chef. Chef, your take on the human suplex machine.
You know what? I like Taz. I really dig Taz. And if he brings that same energy that when we was talking with TNA, I think that'd be really good for AEW Dark or AEW whatever. Also, he's from New York, so I want to be a homer here and tell you how great he is just because of that. But I mean, to be honest with you, if he comes in refreshed and it doesn't come off watered down, because sometimes Taz kind of phones it in and he sounds lackluster, but I like the signing. And hopefully he comes in with the right state of mind, the right energy, and he blesses it. I mean, as much as I don't like the dinosaurs, I got no problem with Arn Anderson. He's been coming in with Cody, and it's been kind of cool. And you don't really see Arn Anderson trying to fucking, be, four horsemen Arn Anderson again. You know what I mean? So as long as Taz ain't trying to be the suplex machine Taz, I got no problem with him ringside, being a manager or just being on commentary.
Chef, it frustrates the hell out of me that you had to bring up that son of a bitch, Arn. So, Arn, you heard Daniel toss on the Arn Sub podcast. So I'm calling you out again, Arn. I'm going to kick your ass and Cody's, you geriatric fuck. Anyways, Hurls, your thoughts on Taz?
So Taz, as a wrestler in ECW, absolutely loved him. Loved how he just destroyed people. They booked him so well, and then he came to WWE, and yeah, that was awful. As far as like commentating, Chef, you nailed it. He phoned it in quite a lot, but it was a lot of times when he was doing one night only pay-per-views, which weren't always great, so I can understand. But like when he phoned it in, he just like make these terrible jokes that just like they were just awful. He was the only one. Yeah, he was the only one laughing at him. And then he would just kind of like job the product while he's calling the match. I'm like, dude, if you don't like it, then what the hell are you doing? So I don't know. Then he left TNA, and then he got his own podcast, or he got his own radio show actually. So I'm kind of surprised that he's not doing that anymore. I don't know if that was his choice or if that was the station's, but I don't know. I don't really see how they're going to use them. They have Shivani. They have Jim Ross. I think Shivani is absolutely great. Jim Ross, yeah, he's not as good as he once was, but I still think he's better than Taz at this point. So if you're bringing in Taz, I actually would not put him on Dynamite for sure. Maybe I'd put him on Dark, but I could see them using him as a authority figure. I think that's got to be the best way, because I'm not a huge fan of him on commentary when he's not engaged, and I think he showed it with TNA. And yeah, I'm sure there's people who are going to be listening to this, and they'll be like, well, it was TNA, but no, you got to give it your full effort. Go ahead, Chef.
Hurls, I know you're not a big AEW fan, but if you were an owner of AEW and you had one decision to bring somebody in, would in your top three names not be Don West?
Oh, gosh, yeah, I would definitely bring in Don West. Definitely. And, Chef, that's not true. I actually don't mind AEW, but there's a lot of stuff that I have problems with as far as roster-wise and storyline-wise. But go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. Like, and that's the thing that, for some reason, I guess we're fans of an older product. We're all obviously TNA fans, but, like, at the end of the day, we can sit here and say, well, he sucked on commentary here, he sucked when he was with us, and I'm not just saying Taz or anyone else, but when you got like someone like Don West that can make an average Wednesday, Thursday, Tuesday, whatever show, whatever day he'll be on, sound like a pay-per-view event, like why does this guy not have a job? Why is he not on the ROHs, the NWAs, the Impact Wrestlings? It kills me because I just think that guy's a fucking legend.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes Taz comes off as a prick, too. Like, he gets short-tempered with some people, and I think that may rub people the wrong way sometimes. But another thing, though, about, like, as you were saying, though, with Taz, and I'll give him a little bit of the benefit, when he was commentating with TNA, that was the time when they were running, like, 6 impacts in, like, 2 days or whatever it is, so maybe he got a little tired because of that, so I could possibly see it, and then you got to do a one night only. That's just kind of no storyline, nothing. So I don't know. I just hope he's engaged. That's really all I'm hoping. Taz the wrestler, though, absolutely loved him in ECW.
Yeah, I mean, I loved him in ECW, and I mean, a lot of ways you could maybe say he was even the best guy that they had or the best booked. And my sentiments resemble the same. I mean, I really liked him when he first started commentating in TNA. I liked him in the WWF prior, or WWE, whatever it was, the actual time, probably both. But honestly, man, like, I believe it was his last year. I can't remember if it's 13 or 14, but especially some of the one-night-only DVDs I had, his commentary was fucking awful. Him and Tenay just making a mockery of it, half-assed, disengaged, always talking about yam bag. I think I said beanbag earlier, but it's yam bag. And I've got a foul taste in my mouth that I hope he gets back to the way that he was. We will see. But we'll move on from the former human suplex machine. Now, actually, and I'm going to bring this one up real quick, too. Now, Hurls, I love AEW, and like you, I do have some criticisms with the roster, with some storylines, etc. And I'm hoping next week on the show we're hoping to at least have myself, the AEW dude, and Old School Heel on, and maybe one of these knuckleheads or two, to really talk more in depth on AEW. But one thing that really has bombed, not as bad as the Nightmare Collective, but it's been the Dark Order thing. And today, a video came out, and I don't know if it was on the show last night. I work during AEW most nights, so there's times that I get distracted and brought away. But you heard the voice talking on a Dark Order skit, kind of like the leader behind it, and that voice was very apparent as to who it was. And if you hear the skit, you know exactly whose voice it is if you used to watch ECW back in the days. Now, I'm clearly no fan of this guy at all. I don't like him one bit. Trust me, I've never been a fan. But Raven is, in my opinion, it's a shoo-in that he's the guy behind the Dark Order in a management figure. I feel like we're going to get the Flock 2.0 back on TNT. Earl's thoughts about Raven, if this is true, because it does really, really seem like it is, I think it makes the Dark Order much better, which isn't very hard to do, but it breathes some new life into it for me. How about you, Earls?
Well, wow, that's surprising. I didn't even not think of Raven being the guy behind it, but yeah, no, I mean he's not gonna wrestle much anymore. He was actually on Impact like maybe 6 months ago, and he didn't look terrible. Like he looked at least healthy. He had a lot of problems with his thyroid, but if it's Raven, I mean that. He cuts a promo like nobody else, so at least that would be good. And he's not going to wrestle much. And wouldn't you want your leader to kind of be able to wrestle, in my opinion? So, I don't know. I think if he's the leader, he's got to still recruit another big-time wrestler to make this thing work. If not, I just don't see where this is going. But I'm a huge Raven fan. Loved him in WCW, loved him in ECW, loved him in TNA, so... You know, I can't really hate on it, but I just don't know if it's going to work.
Chef, does Raven save or salvage the Dark Order a little bit?
I mean, to be honest, that shit's been falling flat. So as much as I've never been a big Raven guy, and I don't like to agree with Hurls, but I'm definitely going to agree with Hurls on this one, is he cuts a mean fucking promo. The only thing is like Hurls said, if this guy's not in the ring, and we see 4, 5, 6 guys we've never heard of, why would anybody take this any kind of serious? It'll just be like, oh, okay, that's that old guy and his cronies that no one's ever heard of. He needs somebody. It's got to be somebody where you recognize him. I don't care if he's a mid-card guy. He's got to be somewhat decent for people to say, okay, well, he could take kind of like the Ted DiBiase way, where DiBiase talks for the NWO in the beginning and he never got in the ring and he had his goons. It's got to be kind of like that, because if you put a mic on Raven, Raven does what he does. If they got nobody, who gives a shit?
Right. Now, of course, obviously, my original name, which I've had to dupe down because I'm afraid of the guy suing me, came from Raven. Raven's a top 5 favorite of mine all time in wrestling. So I'm excited about it. Now, just to throw one name out here, and trust me, I'm talking megastar. Old School Heel, and I was kind of texting earlier today, and he said from the Being the Elite podcast, it almost kind of hinted it, and get ready for this, guys, because I need you to hold still. It's going to put asses in seats. Brandon Cutler may be joining the Dark Order from some content on there. So, blown away with yeah. If you haven't seen Brandon Cutler on AEW, congratulations.
Wait.
So he makes QT Marshall look like a superstar.
Is he the one that's married to Kristen Cavallari?
That's Jay Cutler.
Oh,
that's Smoking Jay Cutler.
Oh,
Brandon.
Yo, come on, man. What are we doing here? I thought this was a wrestling podcast, not a shitty quarterback podcast.
Oh.
If we want to have a Jay Cutler podcast, I'm all on board to roast Jay Cutler. just Smoking Jay Cutler means we're fucking fired.
Yo, I have no idea who you're talking about. Brett, I watch AEW. For some reason, you said his name, and I was like, oh, okay, I have no idea.
Yeah, it's he's been on there a couple times. I believe he jobbed at MJF, the original show. He's a Dungeons and Dragons nerd, and MJF made fun of him afterwards on Twitter for it. It was pretty funny. But, I mean, they got to get someone in there. And I'm going to throw a name out because I think he fits the mold and can talk. And granted, he's no superstar or anything, but I think the world of the guys, I think Crazy Steve would be a good guy to come in to this Dark Order thing. And that's just one thing I've been throwing out and thinking of. But, well, the Dark Order sucks. It definitely needs something. So, anything else, guys, before I move on to the next topic?
No, sir.
No, you go
All
ahead.
right. Well, Hurls, I was going to give some stuff to make you happy. Now, Impact has not only announced WrestleMania weekend that they are going back to a TNA-themed event. Actually, I even may tune in for this. And then on top of it, Lockdown is returning. Now, not as a monthly pay-per-view, but it's going to be an Impact Plus show on a Saturday in March. I mean, I'm not going to say much more. I really think if you're going to bring Lockdown back, do it the right way. I've missed Lockdown. I know a lot of people feel like it's a stupid concept because everything's in a cage. I disagree. I like the fact that it gives the lower and mid-card stuff to actually make their feud seem more important and have a cage match with it. Hurls, I'll go to you, and then Chef, if you got anything you want to say on the return of these two Impact events.
I'll go last.
All right, Hurls, what's up, man?
All right. Obviously, I've been hoping Lockdown would come back for like the last 3 years. I believe the last time we saw Lockdown, it was just a regular Impact version, and I think it was like 2 weeks long. So I'm at least glad that it's going to be on the Impact Plus app where it's going to be uninterrupted. It's going to be basically close to pay-per-view length, so I'm pretty happy about that. I know people probably wanted it to be a regular pay-per-view, but this I'm totally fine with. I have the Impact Plus app, so I'll be watching it anyway. So I'm just excited. I hope, obviously, they got to have Lethal Lockdown. I'm hoping they have the closed cage with the weapons on it. I think that'd be really good. And I just hope that we get a lot of different, Lockdown favorites, like the X Division Escape match, I think it was Queen of the Cage. I think they did one of those. And then, obviously, your Lethal Lockdown. And then I hope we get some type of, bunch of title matches in it. So definitely looking forward to that. As far as the TNA show that's going to happen WrestleMania weekend, I think that's going to be really fun. I think the first show that Impact did on WrestleMania weekend, the one versus Lucha Underground, was really good. United We Stand wasn't as good, so I'm hoping that this year's TNA show is going to be really good. But I hope that they get enough talents for the show, because if you're going to have a TNA show, you got to bring back a lot of the guys that made TNA what it is. Obviously, you have P.D. Williams at your disposal. You got ODB. But I think they definitely got to bring Chris Sabin in for it because he's been working backstage with Impact. Alex Shelley's a free agent, so there's no reason he can't show up, even though he just showed up on NXT. I think you got to get Homicide and Hernandez if they're not locked down by a contract. You got to get maybe even Wildcat Chris Harris. Try to get as many of those guys from the past as you could. Elix Skipper, and like you said earlier,
Amazing Red.
Yeah, Amazing Red. He's still out. He's out there. You get him low key. Definitely bring in Don West and Mike Tenay if I was booking this show. So very excited though. I think it's going to be. I think both shows have the potential to be really good. It just depends how they do that. Like what I would say though to TNA when they're running this, I would tell them to watch the WWE Raw reunion or Raw anniversary or whatever the hell, and then basically just tell them do the exact opposite. Don't do what the hell they did because those shows were terrible. Anyways, that's my thoughts on it. I'm excited, obviously. I'm definitely going to be watching both.
All right. I'm glad somebody's real positive about that because I could care less what they do. I don't give a shit. To me, Impact has become unwatchable. Now, here's my thing. For a company that says we don't want to be TNA, but yet let's ride TNA. You know what I'm saying? Especially in Florida, to be honest with you. And I hope the real Impact Zone fans don't go. I mean, don't go. Because, like I said, Anthem has the power to do whatever they want. They could have booked any venue. It doesn't got to be a Universal. They could have done whatever they wanted, and they could have come once a year. They didn't do that. They didn't even give anybody the right decency for a send-off, which they should have done for the fans out here. Because before I got there, there are plenty of people that have been there since day one, so they can go fuck themselves. And I hope that none of the people out here go. I'm super bitter. Super bitter. I'm going to admit, I'm like that bitch that got divorced, and I still feel a certain way 20 years later. So I hope they don't go. Is the TNA thing going to be cool? Yeah, probably. I hope they do bring certain guys. I don't think a low-key's going. Storm probably definitely not going to go. So there are some names that I know that probably ain't going to be there, but it is what it is, and I dropped enough hate, so my fault, and you guys can say whatever you want to say.
I mean, I got nothing more to say on it. We'll move on, plus we got a loaded show anyways. So speaking of Impact news, so it broke Sunday night that Brian Cage's contract with Impact Wrestling is over with. And then it broke that he had signed with All Elite Wrestling, only to have that denied by his wife, Melissa Santos. And I believe Cage has actually done the same. Yeah, man, I'm just going to be honest with it. I'm glad that he's done. I mean, the guy had a job to a fucking woman. I figured he was going to be coming up eventually. I mean, he's guy who never lost was jobbing out to Elgin, I've heard, and Tessa Blanchard and other shit. I feel Brian Cage now, he needs to get a little bit better with his promos, but the dude is, for a muscle-bound guy like he is, can do stuff in the ring that I don't know that I've ever seen someone of his size and stature, the way he's built, be able to do. He's certainly no Rob Terry. And I feel like he could become a star. I think AEW fits him better. I think NXT would just waste and ruin him. And I hope that he ends up in All Elite Wrestling. And I was disappointed to find out that it was a rumor, so I'm hoping, especially with this money increase, that they go out and get Brian Cage. But Chef, I'm going to go back to you first. I know you're not big on Cage, but your thoughts on it.
No. I appreciate that because I am not a fan of him. Now, the dude is big. He flips around, does some really cool shit. I understand how talented he is. It's not no hate. I'm just not a fan. I appreciate what he can do. He's one of the worst I've ever seen cut a promo. That's facts. But he's super talented. I agree that at this point we all say the same thing, that AEW needs some more bigs. And guess what? That's a big freaking guy. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, personally, I think he has signs. And they're just trying to play it like, oh, no, he has a sign, so when he does come, it's a big, holy shit, he's here kind of thing. Because if they say it now, it's like, oh, when he pops out, oh, yeah, we've been doing this, that he was going to be here. So I think, somebody leaked the information or whatever. NXT, if he goes there, to be honest with you, I don't know what they would do. I do like what NXT does, but once again, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, they're so fucking up the, oh man, those ROH guys does not matter. But yeah, I hope he goes to AEW and does his thing, because to be honest with you, the only guy they have on that roster besides that, what's that dinosaur guy? Luchasaurus. He's the only guy in the roster big enough to step in front of him besides Hager, Hager, sorry. I haven't seen him do shit since he came out. You know what I mean? So the only two guys at that size would be those two guys, so they do need more. And, I mean, if they play him right, he could be a beast.
No doubt, Hurls?
Yeah, I don't really know what...
Hurls, you on mute, or are you still there?
Oh.
He don't care about the signing.
There we go. No.
There he goes.
Sorry, I was talking with the mute button on. Anyways, yeah, I don't know what to think about it, because he's made comments like he wants to debut at the Royal Rumble. Now, I don't think his name is big enough to do that. I think he would have to go through NXT first. But he always kind of seemed like he was that guy that was out to prove WWE wrong, but at the same time, always had, it was kind of like the girl you just couldn't get. but then all of a sudden you want to prove that you can get her kind of thing. So he always kind of seems to me like he's trying to get back to WWE in some way, shape, or form. But having said that, he's a guy at his size that can do some of the crazy flips and, what like a wrestler that, like a cruiserweight can do. So, he's a hell of a talent. I didn't like how he was booked basically from the time he won the title in Impact to, pretty much his whole reign. I just thought like he was practically injured the whole reign. It just was terrible, and he just kept getting injured every single time. He did have a really good match with Mike Elgin. I really enjoyed that, but anything else, I just was kind of like, I wasn't really that big, and I think Impact could have built him up a little bit better, not give him a title shot so quickly. But I actually have no idea where he's going to go. Obviously the source, I think it was SCE Underground, broke the story that he did sign. I would like to hear where they got it, because they had to have gotten it from somewhere. So when there's smoke, there's fire. And AEW, like you said, Chef, they need big guys. So he fits that mentality a lot. So they need more, bigger guys. I just don't know. Is he going to be a huge signing for AEW? I don't know about that, but he's definitely got some injury issues too. He's injured right now, actually. So who knows what's going to happen? But I think it would be a good signing for AEW because they need guys like him.
Yep, second that. And from what I understand, I've heard the rumors he's out for anywhere from 2 to 6 months. Remember John Morrison, Johnny Impact, whatever you want to call him, denied that he had signed with WWE, even though that story had broken. He was the whole time. I'm personally hoping it's the same thing with Cage, but, I'm not going to say anything until I see something. Hurls, you mentioned the teases with the Royal Rumble and stuff, too. Let's not also forget that this guy actually, while he was world champion with Impact and while not performing due to injury, was in attendance at Double or Nothing and was trying to make an appearance on the show to compete. So, he has flirted with AEW as well. So, only time will tell. And who knows? Maybe he goes back to Impact. We'll see. And heck, ROH and NWA sign people that we never expect them to either, which we'll be talking about in just a sec. But we're going to talk some MLW next. Now, MLW is went out and hired, what is it, like a talent agency or – so, remember when Impact had done the same thing and worked with these agencies? There's also rumors that they've been talking with Showtime. My God, if Major League Wrestling actually were to get onto a Showtime network, that is huge. I think it's still way too big for MLW. I root for MLW. I haven't been able to watch it in forever. For some reason, I have the BN channel or BN or whatever you want to call it on my Sling. I have MLW set up to record new episodes, even old episodes, and it never records, so I don't know what's going on. But, Chef, I know you're kind of big on MLW, at least for hoping for their success. What's your thoughts on this?
No, I like it. I like it because, listen, they just lost MJF. Jimmy Havoc is finishing up his contract, and then he's going over there. So, you're losing some of the bigger name guys that you have. So they definitely need more talent, and I don't know who these people are that they hire, so I don't know what they get. Obviously I have no idea, but I'm more interested in the Showtime thing. I think they got a star in Fatu. I think he's a beast. They have a good product. They have great ownership. They have great staff. I like what they're doing. I just think that they need to take it to one more level because, to be honest with you, and it's something I argue with Hurls about, is that everybody behind AEW is so far behind us, whatever. If you put this product on a Showtime, I don't think you're going to get the numbers you want because it's a good product, but it's not a great product. It's not ready for that type of status yet. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I want them to succeed. I want everybody to succeed. I might throw some jokes and shade and whatever, but, I think it's great what they're doing, so more power to them.
Yeah,
I echo everything Chef just said. Sorry, Hurls, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, I don't really watch MLW too much. I don't get BN. I know they do have their episodes on YouTube, or at least they did at one point. But No, I mean, I wish them success. If they get on Showtime, like, it sounds like it's a really big thing, but you got to understand, too, Showtime's an extra premium channel that people got to pay, $10 a month for. It just seems like an odd choice. Like, Showtime's it's a really big channel, though. Obviously, when you're looking for a movie channel, you think HBO, Showtime, Skinamax, you know. But, and yes, I did say Skinamax. Got to keep up that gimmick, right, K-Fab?
They kind of got rid of the Skinamax thing, which I hate. Just saying.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, well, Hurls, to be honest, with the Showtime thing, that would mean more money for MLW.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I mean, if Showtime's going to pay for it, that's big. And they could help out their budget and maybe even get some bigger name wrestlers and keep some of the guys they have on the roster. So, you know what? I can't really give a fair assessment of MLW. I heard it's really good. I just, there's so much wrestling on and so little time of the day to do everything. So it's just kind of one of those things. I can't really comment on MLW because I haven't really seen it.
All right. No, I mean, speaking of MLW, and Chef just mentioned it, MLW just lost MJF, which I personally feel is a much bigger loss to MLW than they've used the guy. If you know anything, I think MJF is going to be a huge star in professional wrestling, and he will get that way in AEW. He is finished with them, so, I mean, he's strictly AEW now. I know he put out over, like, the Von Erich kids before he left. I read some results. MJF, the world is yours. It is time to go shine on the big stage in the big league, my friend. Best salt of the earth. Hurls, anything you want to say there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as high on MJF as everybody else is, but yeah, that is. No, I mean, he's not bad. It's just I don't think he's, at least at this stage of his career, I don't think he's on that level yet. I want to see a little more from him, but he definitely gets heat. I'll say that, but he's not, to me, he's not on like an Eli Drake. And I know that might get some disagreements, but yeah, but for MLW to lose like a guy like him, I think that's a big loss. So, they gotta just, find the next big thing.
Chef, anything you want to chime in on the salt of the earth?
No, I mean, he's just, look, I agree. The guy is super freaking talented. And to be honest with you, we've been watching him for like, a year. If you've been watching like MLW into AEW, you got like a year with him, where I would not put him in the same category as Eli Drake because we've been watching him for years doing this. But if he keeps progressing at his ceiling, you're looking at arguably one of the top tier guys in the next 3 years who's going to be under like 25 years old. It's something ridiculous. So, I mean, yeah, I like him. I think he's a stud.
Absolutely. I mean, my dream, honestly, I'm hoping eventually, because I have no idea what in the hell he was thinking, because I know he had other offers, but when Eli Drake is done with the NWA, he comes over to AEW, and then we get the Eli Drake and MJF, either a team and faction to start, but that feud is going to be, I could imagine it come like Eli Drake debuting and interrupting MJF talking the same way that Jericho did The Rock, sort of a thing. I see that as just fire and what's going to come between those two if it ever happens. But no, he's not on Eli's level. That's a whole different level no one else is on right now. So I'll move on. I wasn't going to talk about Matt Hardy and Rusev being pending free agents. Truthfully, we got a long show already, and we're running a little long, and we got 3 big things to talk about next before we get into these shows very briefly. So I'm going to save that for another day. Guys, so the AEW extension and the extra money coming in from TNT hit yesterday. I feel like the timing on it may have been awful for a certain reason. To me, I don't know much about him, but I know that Marty Scurll, they wanted him. He's a member of the Elite. They wanted him in AEW. There was rumors he was going to be the guy behind the Blade and the Butcher. There was rumors he was going to be the guy behind the Dark Order, to bring him in big and have him start feuding as a heel. But he signed with Ring of Honor from what's been reported, something like $300,000 a year, like main roster, main star WWE caliber contract. And he's becoming now their head booker for Ring of Honor, making Delirious take a back seat to him and become his assistant. So he was given literally everything. And he's allowed to work with the NWA because apparently the NWA and Ring of Honor have a partnership now. We have Nick Aldis interrupting on the Ring of Honor show, Wrestling Flip Gordon, and I believe it's an NWA pay-per-view or a special show they have going on. But to be honest, and I'm just going to say this, I don't think the guy's going to bring in any extra ratings to Ring of Honor. I think Ring of Honor is done. And if there's any company on its last limb in wrestling right now, it's for sure Ring of Honor, where you're hardly bringing anyone in your building and you're paying a guy that amount of money. I just feel like they may have just sealed their fate. Hurls, your thoughts on the Marty Scurll signing? I think AEW missed out, and that was a match that was a given, but it is what it is, and Ring of Honor's got some balls.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you heard the extra kind of story on this story is they want Marty Scurll to build a relationship with Ring of Honor and AEW. I don't know if you heard that or not, but that's another part that they're trying to do. I don't see why AEW would do it, but who knows? We've seen crazier things in wrestling. Yeah, like you said, Ring of Honor is just like they've lost a lot of guys, similar to Impact, but they overpaid for Marty Scurll big time, and I don't think they're going to see the return on investment unless Marty Scurll is the next coming of one of the greatest wrestling bookers of all time, because he's going to have to do a lot of repair to repair that brand, because 2019 was a really bad year for Ring of Honor, and yeah, they had the Madison Square Garden show, but other than that, they just had so many things that kind of came out about, how things were being run backstage. But, I guess if you're Ring of Honor, though, you were kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, because you had to keep, one of your bigger names, but to pay him that much, I just don't think they're going to get the return they're thinking of. But they felt it was worth it, so we'll see how it works for him. I mean, I guess if you're a Ring of Honor fan, you're happy for sure.
I'll make this short and sweet. I think he's overrated, always have. He's a good talent, Marty Scurll, but not at that price anyway. And, I mean, to be honest with you, if anybody can work a deal with AEW, it better be him, because he's super close with Cody and the Bucks, with the whole, the Bullet Club stuff and all that. He should be able to. And at this point, if they homies like the way they're supposed to be homies, I don't know how you don't do a cross-promotion thing, even if it's 1 or 2 times a year just to help the homie out, because, listen, he's stuck there, and ROH is looking bad. I'm pretty sure AEW, could just, hey, yo, we got you real quick. You know what I mean? So if anyone could do it, he could. I think it's a horrible signing at $300,000 for a company that's struggling. But listen, sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and if they think that he's the guy who could fix it, hopefully he can.
This might sound fucked up to say, but if I were AEW, I'd refuse it. Why, that company's going to falter. You're going to rate the talent that you want out of it. I'm going to let them fail. You know what I mean? They left Ring of Honor for bigger and better, and they got bigger than Ring of Honor on their debut show. I'm going to let them fail. I'm going to go take Marty Scurll afterwards. I'm going to go take Jay Lethal. I'm going to go take the people that I want. And the rest, go see who wants to go to NXT, who wants to go to Impact, who wants to go to NWA, et cetera, or MLW. But that's what I would do. I mean, if it does it, so far, I think it's a desperate move for Ring of Honor in 2 situations, too. So.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, anyone else?
I just want to say real quick, I don't see what AEW has to gain. Even with Marty Scurll being the head booker, what does AEW? They got TNT. They don't need Ring of Honor. That's just kind of like bringing them down. You know what I mean? And Ring of Honor should just be happy that they got New Japan brainwashed, because that's literally one of the big reasons why they sell as many tickets as they do. It's because of NJPW.
No doubt. So, and I agree with you too, Hurls. If this guy's ever going to pay dividends, he's got to be. I mean, the fucking next. Coming to Vince McMahon booking it, back in the days in the 80s and 90s. I mean, something huge has got to come out of this if they're going to stay afloat. But
right, like Bischoff in '97.
Right. So, Yeah, and so anyone else got anything else on the Marty Scurll thing before we move on? Because we're about to get into a couple sensitive topics here.
Nope.
All right, y'all ready for the big fish? I know, Chef, on the second one, you might not have anything to say. Maybe something will spark you here, but so no, look, man. Here, topic number one. It's all on the same person. So look, as a lot of you know, maybe a lot of you don't know. I'm sure most of you don't care. I'm done as an Impact Wrestling fan. I have been a fan of Impact since 2002 when they started as TNA. Obviously did a podcast, T-shirts, DVDs, bought pay-per-views, all that, support this company, fought with trolls, argued, all of that. Much like these two have as well. I know Hurls is still busted, but I'm not. Now, look, first of all, I want to say this, too. I wish Impact nothing but the best. I like a lot of people on that roster. I got a lot of friends, Hurls, BQ, Griggs, Kyle, Larkin, all watch it and like Impact and want it to be successful. So I'm not trolling or anything like that. What I cannot handle is look, and I understand how society goes today, and it's a fucking clown world. But Tessa Blanchard, female, 5'5", 120, maybe 140 pounds max, is the Impact heavyweight champion of the world of the men. That's too much for me. And I understand wrestling is fake, but why do we have to go to this level of fake? It's just, and I'm going to have a little bit of a rant. I apologize. But it's multiple reasons. For one, there's literally no fucking believability in this at all. It is so absurd and obscure to think that she could pin fucking Brian Cage for some reason, that Sawyer Fulton couldn't beat her, but she can also beat Sammy Callahan, for Christ's sake. There is no believability in this. It is so fucking outrageous and stupid. Now, on top of it, it's man versus woman, which is dumb to start, but it's very similar to domestic violence with man fighting woman. And there are differences between a man and a woman biologically for a fucking reason. And there's a reason why women don't compete in like the NBA and they have the WNBA. They don't play in Major League Soccer. They have their own thing, and so on and so on. There's a reason why 14-year-old boys beat the fucking gold medal USA women's soccer team, for crying out loud. This is that stupid to me. Now, my wife is a victim of domestic violence. Not from me. Don't get that in there. But I mean, my wife can start, she stopped watching Impact with me because of this, and I can't even get her to watch wrestling because she just expects this stupid intergender shit. It's an insult, you know what I mean, to think that the women can beat the men. It's an insult to women that have went through this, because not only is it like, well, she can do it, why can't you? No, it's just all around fucking stupid and degrading. That kills all of the credibility on the Impact World Championship, which I still felt had some. I know Chef probably disagrees with me, but it kills all of it. This title is forever tarnished. That, to me, like, your championships are the main thing. They're not a prop to me. I never look at it like that. That's the reason why I have no respect for WWE. This is ruined. And I know we're in this stupid social justice warrior society, and these fucking clowns that don't know the difference between men and women and gender neutral bullshit, and fucking women can do everything and men can, and hashtag Me Too and all that actually believe that a woman could beat up a man or whatever. And I understand it's wrestling. They're trying to say, oh, she's just as good as a man. She's not. She's not that fucking special. And now, and the other thing, too, because I got a fucking troll that won't shut the fuck up, so I'm going to put this to bed right now. And I know a lot of people are using this, including my buddy Griggs, and this isn't a shot at Griggs, but some people are like, well, if you have a problem with her winning it, but you didn't have a problem with Rey Mysterio becoming champion, that's stupid. It's just the same. No, it's not. For one, Rey Mysterio is still a man, for Christ's sake, and he's a good ass shape. He's a buff dude. Now, do I think he should have been a world heavyweight champion not once but twice? No, it's fucking stupid. But the fact is, he would literally kill Tessa Blanchard and go to jail if they got in an actual fight. It's how absurd this comparison is. Rey Mysterio is also a generational talent. I'm sorry, Impact fans. I know that you're convinced that they are because they tell you she is. Tessa Blanchard is no fucking generational talent. She's not. She's good. She's not special. And honestly, and what I keep saying too, just because WWE has done something stupid doesn't mean that your company needs to do something stupid and justify it. That's the main thing of being an alternative. You're not doing a bunch of the stupid shit and decisions. But this is dumber than anything that WWE has done. There's no believability. Honestly, but the only way that this could ever be believable is if, for one, she was built like China or Awesome Kong or something like that, And then on top of that, you would need to have this literally. For a woman to become the world champion of a major, and I use that term loosely, wrestling company, she needs to be the best worker ever. Not just in the business today, but ever. She's not. I don't even think she's the best in the business today, period. She's nowhere near what Gail Kim was. It's just, this is absurd. I'm done with Impact. I wish you the best, but this is the dumbest fucking decision that I've ever seen, and it's an insult to wrestling fans. Already have their intelligence insulted enough, what little of it they have, by watching WWE and this fake sport. And I'll say this again, literally the broken universe and the fucking Undead Realm are more believable than Tessa Blanchard beating these guys and becoming world champion to me. My rant on that is over. Chef, anything you want to say? I'll give Hurls the third so he can be the defender of it, because I know he still loves his company.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Now, everything you pointed out, because I was like, man, I wonder if he's going to say something about China. If she was built like China, I got no problem with her beating somebody like Sami Callihan, maybe Fulton. Not Cage, though. Now, China is a big chick. She was a legend. But that dude is a steroid monster. He's huge. It still looks more believable if China does it. I also agree with the fact that she's not even on Gail Kim's level. And if Impact, TNA, WWF, wherever she wrestled before that or whatever, never put that type of shit on Gail Kim, which I would put Gail Kim top 3 all time. Depending on who you ask, I might slate her as my 1. But she'll never be Gail Kim. I don't care what anyone says about Tessa. Tessa will never be Gail Kim. Now, here's my straight beef with it. If she could run through all the females and she could run through all the males, what happens when eventually this bullshit gets tired and now she has to wrestle a woman if she stays in Impact? How can anybody beat her? If she could run through Cage, Sami Callihan, Fulton, like a handicap match, I think at one point she was on like a 1-on-2 versus OVE and she beat them. Like, this shit is insane. The push she got is ridiculous. Now, once again, I come from a single mom. I was taught to respect women and not touch them. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I would never slap, well, if a woman can hit me hard enough, I'm going to have to knock her the fuck out because I got to protect myself. But I have to respect the female as a female. So I've never been a fan of intergender because I can't see a point where a man has to be in a position to slam a chick. I've never found it entertaining. I've never seen it funny because I was brought up a certain type of way. At the end of the day, this shit is horrible. I don't think that the belt has any value. I'm glad you said it does. It's ridiculous. It is just flat out ridiculous. And I don't care who gets upset. I don't care, well, it's 2020, anything. Well, fuck. Since people want to recognize themselves as something, I recognize myself as your God. So when you see me in the street or if you see me at work, just please call me God, because at this point I recognize myself as God. And if you can recognize yourself as anything else, I am your Messiah. I'm the greatest thing you've ever seen. Yo, Hurls, my fault. Go ahead. Do your thing, brother.
All right. So,
amen, Jeffrey.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, yeah, no,
I was just saying amen to my God. I'm sorry. Sorry, Hurls. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So, before I really even go into depth with this whole thing, let's just say that Lucha Underground started this, right? Can we both agree there that Lucha Underground kind of brought it to the forefront and Impact kind of ran with it? So in my opinion is I was kind of like, I don't like the fact that she's champion, but what I'm going to defend is her making these matches actually look somewhat believable, because when she wrestles men, she does a whole different style than when she wrestles the women. Now, I'm not saying she should have won. Definitely not saying that. But the matches...
Hurls, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hurls, can I please interrupt you, though?
Sure.
Okay. So my thing is, if Ronda Rousey comes into my apartment, she'll beat the fuck out of me. No question. She's a trained fighter, right?
Right.
Okay, but at the same weight, if you put her versus Conor McGregor, what do you think Conor McGregor does to Ronda Rousey at the same weight?
Oh, he would absolutely destroy her.
And that's where my problem is that people don't realize. Where normal people will say, oh, well, if Amanda Nunes comes, she'll fuck you up, Chef. Yes, she will. But if you put a male at the same weight class as her, he's going to fucking kill her. this is where my beef is. That people don't use a logical. And I know it's wrestling. You know, you're not supposed to have that thing, but I hate the fact that people don't ever think. You know, I don't know. My fault. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say though, like if I'm comparing her to other female wrestlers that are still wrestling today, she's definitely in my top at least 3. I'd probably put Charlotte ahead of her and maybe Becky Lynch. But other than that, I don't know who would be on her level. I think she's hella talented, but I do have Gail Kim ahead of her. But keep in mind, Tessa Blanchard is only, 23, 24. So she's really young. I think she's grown even in Impact since she's came. But I will say her matches with Sami Callihan were very entertaining. But I can also see your point, Raven, where it would be very uncomfortable to someone in domestic violence situations, because the way Sami Callihan does his moves to her, he just basically steps on her and just it looks uncomfortable. Tessa, she sells really well when they have these matches, and I have no problem with anyone who says they're disappointed that a woman won the world title, because you're right, it is a men's world title, and I have no problem with it. Me, I love the product still. I love a lot of the wrestlers. I don't think all of them are being used properly, but I'm still interested in it. I think Tessa and Sami Callihan have a really good chemistry when they're in the ring together. It works in that sense, from a feud sense, but when you take the fact that she is the world champion, it is a hard pill to swallow. I'm not going to lie. So, do I have a problem with it as much as you two do? No, not at all. I'm still going to watch, but I do think Tella's a hell of a worker. So I'm kind of torn. I'm really torn with the whole thing. But I if I'm booking shows, I'm probably keeping the women in the women's division and the men in the men's division, and I'm sure I'm going to take some heat from that from some people who are listening, but it is what it is.
Hurls, the funny part is, and I'm sorry I cut you off, Raven. The crazy part is that if a dude now walks up and slaps a chick, everybody wants to complain, right? But what are you showing? You're saying it's okay for a man to go at a woman. It's okay for a woman to go at a man. But then you're going to have these social justice people that are going to cry every time a male does something or a female does something or somebody says something. So it's you can't win in this day and age. So if you say something that you feel is right, think about it. We're all wrong here somehow. You're completely saying something different than us. We're going to be wrong and you're going to be wrong. How can two opinions where one should be right and wrong, how can both be wrong? Because that's the society we live in. Even when you defend it, you're still going to be wrong. Even when we go against it, we're still going to be wrong. This shit is crazy.
Yeah, you can't win. I mean, I do not like these people who think just because, that's how it always was done, well, it was wrong. Well, no, it's not always wrong. I mean, there's a reason why it was always that way. But there's a mob mentality on Twitter, and unfortunately, they're the minority, but they have the loudest voices, so they're going to make it known. But I respect Tessa. I mean, we're going to talk about that story coming up soon, and that kind of sucks. But I think she's a hell of a worker, though. I think she is one of the best women's wrestlers going today. But like we mentioned, I don't know. I don't know if I like the fact that women can go for the title, and it may be sexist, whatever, but there's a reason why we got two different divisions. But once again, it didn't kill my fandom for Impact Wrestling. That's where I'll leave it at.
All right, so I'm going to move on real fast. I'm going to kind of go over some stuff that was brought up here. Girls, I did not forget about Lucha Underground at all. I never have. Let's also be real. As phony as wrestling is, Lucha Underground was intentionally even phonier. I mean, it was almost like a whole different universe with sacrifices to gods and people being killed off and all sorts of shit. I'm not giving them a pass for it by any means, but I mean, their undead realm is more extreme than Impact's was, and it was basically the focus of their entire show. With Tessa, I feel this girl has been pushed too hard, too fast since she debuted. It seems like the second she was in there, they just wanted to rush to put her as the knockouts champion. They ended Su Young's title reign way too early just to make this girl champion when Su Young's reign was hot and didn't need to end at the time. And look what's happened to Su Young since. I don't think this girl has hardly any charisma to her. I always hear she's so charismatic. No, she kicks her fucking feet back. That's not charisma. That's what it is. This girl literally is pushed so hard. And I'm not taking away from the fact she's very good. She's great. I'll say she is a great in-ring worker for a female. But it's her last name is the reason why they pushed her so hard. It's because her dad rode the coattails of Ric Flair and Arn Anderson in a legendary stable, and because her stepdad was some guy who could have been bigger than he was, but he got hurt. If you ask me, he was fucking boring, but that's my opinion. And my thing, too, now is I've already seen this teased on Twitter, is that Taya is challenging her champion versus champion. So, I mean, literally, this is where we're going now. Woman versus woman for the men's world title. But the men can't compete for the knockouts title. You just have this whole stupid mess. And what are we going to, you know Taya's not beating her. So the only person that's going to beat Taya is Tessa. Not to some up-and-coming girl, not to Rosemary, who they've killed her off with this new regime, despite her being as over as anyone else for years and years. It's stupid. And Tessa's going to bury the knockout division, too, more than she already has. So that's my take. I'll hop into the next unless someone has anything else they want to chime in on that.
No, I didn't even know that Taya wants that. I mean, to be honest, if Taya's contract is coming up, you could see her losing and leaving.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. And who knows if they'll do it. I mean, she teased it on Twitter. That doesn't always mean it's what the bookers are going to do. But, I mean, would it fucking surprise you? What else? This show revolves around that girl. This matters around Impact is making sure Tessa gets Tessa nonstop action. So, no. All right, are we ready to tackle the bigger one, or Hurls, you got something else you want to chime in?
Well, I just wanted to say, obviously, you didn't read the fine print on that TNA show. It's not Total Nonstop Action. It's Tessa Nonstop Action on April 3rd. She's in 7 different matches.
Oh, I would not.
Is it really?
No, I'm just playing.
Oh, I was about to be like, holy shit.
And she will win all 7, all against men too. Now, here's the bigger one. So, literally the night before, or the day before, Impact gets put in a even harder, like in an almost impossible situation to deal with, a situation that they literally never should have been in to begin with. Because basically the way it's set up for Hard to Kill, it's impossible for them to fucking job Tessa out. But formerly known as Sienna in Impact, Allison Kay, she's the NWA Women's Champion. She responds to a tweet about Tessa empowering women, and basically along the line says, remember that time in Japan when you were wrestling with a black girl and spit in her face and call her the N-word? Is that supporting women or something very close to that? And then Chelsea Green kind of chimed in with saying she remembered it and bullying. The girl that got it came out and said something too. I know that it's apparently she said it's been squashed, but I mean, a lot of this it's all rumors, to be honest, and it's she said. Literally, I can't say he because there weren't any men unless they identify that way. But I mean, okay, I'm just gonna keep this real here. I don't know if it's true or not, and I don't know that too many people do. Truthfully, and I may have a bias because I can't stand Tessa, which a lot of it's not her fault. I kind of feel like she did, and I feel like the stuff is coming out, and there's so many damn witnesses. The one thing I don't like, though, and I have a friend, a close friend of mine, who was a big-time manager in the business in the 70s, who said, I'm just surprised that this is all coming out for everyone to know about, because back in my days, we kept this shit in the locker room, and we handled this in the locker room. And all that. I do feel, especially with today's cancel culture shit, and social justice work to the go. I mean, Sienna and Chelsea, their goal was to ruin this girl's career in her life the day before her biggest event. Everyone makes mistakes, and that doesn't mean that people can't change. And she may have done this, and she may have had that. It doesn't mean that she has not changed her views or or adapted. I mean, I know it's fiction. If you look at the movie American History X, that's a prime example of someone going from racist to not racist. And I'm not comparing her to a neo-Nazi in the movie by any means, but there's a chance that it's improved. That said, it doesn't justify anything at all if this did happen. And you know, there's also there's talking about her bullying. I remember she prevented Eva Lees from appearing on an Impact card once. You know, and you know, let's be real. I mean, in today's society, being racist to a lot of these social justice warriors is literally worse than rapists and murder and whatnot. I mean, being racist is not a crime. I'm not going to even say that it makes you a terrible person. It makes you a very ignorant one. But I mean, if you keep your opinions to yourself and still treat people with respect, regardless of what color they are, I'm not going to say that that makes you a horrible person. It makes you very ignorant, and you need to really think about stuff in your life, because it's very fucking stupid to still feel that way, especially this year, at this time in life. But the speech that she did after she won the title, and I know it's being overanalyzed a lot, and maybe it's justified, maybe it isn't, but there's a lot of people saying that basically her speech, you know, by saying everyone makes mistakes and all that, it seems like she's admitting that she did it. I can see the point. I don't know that I'm going to dive that deep into it to say yes or no. But the fact that bothers me too, regardless if she did or not, there was no apology whatsoever. You know, it's like acknowledging I made mistakes and all that. I'm not perfect, whatever. Yeah, no one is. But the fact that there was no apology with it, it makes me feel, you know, and I know that, now the beef was apparently squashed. The girl that was the victim of it, came out and said that it's squashed. Literally, I've seen the tweet. Now, there was this site called Jobber Tears, or page called Jobber Tears. They came out and set out this fucking story, you know, saying stuff like that the girl that, what is her name? Is it, I know it's Negra in the end of it. I know that's like the last thing I want to remember, but
I think it's La Negra Rosa.
La Negra Rosa. So apparently she had said, apparently, according to this fucking page that put out this story that a lot of Impact fans are fucking using as their Bible, that girl allowed Tessa to call her the N-word with a soft A, not a hard R, frequently. And so, I mean, my question is, like, why? Why did she feel so content to always call her that? That was the point. You know what I mean? Like, why did Tessa need to say that so much? And the thing is, like, there's no credibility to this side or page reporting the story. They just say it's a mutual friend of both of them. But, well, who? Because you're just pulling shit out of your ass, too, the same way that you're claiming some people are. And so I'm not going to say one way or another whether I think she did it or not. I do kind of feel like she probably did. And, you know, squashing the beef, whether it's squashed or not, it doesn't mean that it didn't happen. And this girl does have a history of bullying and whatnot, and it's just a mess, man, and I don't know what to say. I know that we need to cover it. I want to put my thoughts out there on it. But, I mean, Chef, I don't know if I know you said you wanted to step out of this one. If something does come up you want to say, go for it, but I'll kick it over to you, Hurls. So I'm sure I'm pretty sure you're siding with Tessa, but.
Well, I mean, I just think, like, okay, if she said what she said, okay, you know, that's obviously not a good thing, okay? But, like, there comes a point where if you do have a change of heart and you do change and, you know, you're not, you know, you drop your racist, whatever, you know, is racist tendencies inside or whatever prejudices you have. I mean, I think everybody should be forgiven if they truly mean it, if it's sincere. So I don't like the fact that when people try to dig up skeletons before the day that you're going to win the title, I just think that was kind of petty. But the other thing is, too, the person that should be offended most by this is, what was her name? Yeah, thank you. I mean, she's the one that was affected by this, okay? So if they squash the beef, I think this should be a non-issue because they worked it out. They settled it. They don't need to go online and, you know, tell their whole story to everybody. They settled it. It was behind the scenes, and I think if they settled it and they squashed it, I think everybody else should squash it as well. So that's kind of my thoughts on the whole thing. Hopefully Tessa Blanchard has changed, and hopefully she does not act like a bully backstage. You know, that's really all I can say about it. I think, you know, obviously, Tessa's like 23, 24. So when 2 years ago, she was like 21, 22. I mean, that you're young. You do a lot of stupid things when you're young. Obviously, this thing's inexcusable, but hopefully she's learned her lesson.
Yeah, you know what, though? And I didn't want to really say shit, but, like, the whole spitting thing, Hurls, me and you covered that. I'm not going to make this podcast longer on why it annoyed me. But, like, here's my thing is, and like I say, I got white friends, black friends, Spanish friends, Asian friends, European friends. I would never say, yo, this is my black friend, so-and-so. This is my white friend, so-and-so, So the only thing is, and this is where I want to say what I want to say, my piece, is I'm from a culture where saying, yo, what's good, my nigga, is a normal, it's like, what's up, homie? If you're not from that, you're not allowed to say it, and I know Asian people from the hood, I know white people from the hood, and they can say it because they're from a certain culture. If you're not from that culture, don't talk like that. You know what I'm saying? Because it is a different thing, and I know people go, oh, it's a double standard. Nah, it really ain't, because we get it. And like I said, it's not a black or Spanish thing or white or anything else, because I have multiple people from the hood, and we all come in different shapes, sizes, colors, and everything else. My biggest beef is, that shit, if they killed that noise, they killed it. It should never came up, and it definitely was premeditated to fuck with her. No question, and that shit is petty as fuck. But at the same time, though, my biggest beef is exactly like what Raven said, is she never just apologized. She tried to make like a little, people make mistakes, blah, blah. Yo, I don't even care if you say sorry. I know a lot of people have a problem saying, yo, I'm sorry. Just say my bad. Yo, my bad, I messed up, blah, blah, blah. People are like, oh, all right, cool. Like, you fucked up and this, that. She never did that, and that's my biggest problem with her, and I'm going to leave it at that.
All right. Appreciate it, Chef. And yeah, man, exactly. And I guess I forget, there's a couple things I did want to mention, too, is, spitting in someone's face is, like, the most disrespectful fucking thing you can do to someone. And on top of it, like, it's so unladylike, too. It's a put off, but man, to throw a fucking racial slur, and I know there's what Chef said, and I agree with him too, but there's also a huge difference where you're from, because a lot of people don't mean it, to use a hard R instead of, that's just coming with some that's super fucked up and degrading. And, it's, and the thing too, I will say, I was actually surprised that there was a good portion of African Americans that came out to both fans and other wrestlers in the business, Moose being one of them, that actually stood up for her. And I was actually surprised at that. It's not my piece to say anything. But I was just shocked by that. And the one thing too, she has dated an African American in the past. She's dating a Latino right now. Now, granted, you can be racist towards one and not the other, whatnot. But it's normally, if you're racist, you don't want to date someone of the color that you apparently hate. So I'm throwing out a lot of factors, you know what I mean? But it's and the thing too is Sienna is a fucking terrible person, man. Like, this girl, and I know her and the AEW dude got into it and all, and she's the fucking person out there that is quick to damn everyone in America for what they do, and basically it was a matter of, like, it's so fucked up that Muslims get treated like this, but every time that the Muslims do something bad with all the terrorist acts, she's fucking silent, and I know the AEW dude and her got into that. But this is literally the bitch that will side with the Iranian terrorists over the U.S. So, fuck Allison Kay. Fuck Chelsea Green, too, because she's, honestly, I don't got respect for her either. I hate every woman involved in this thing. I really don't like or respect any of them. And hopefully Tessa has changed, but dude, you owe someone a fucking apology. Anything else, guys?
Yeah, I just want to say, like, Chelsea Green just had to be involved in this, right? Like, you guys know my stance on her and what I feel like she did, what she is and what she did. You just debuted in NXT. Why are you making controversial stuff on Twitter? I think it's just a poor move. Like, worry about NXT. Like, you just debuted. I think that was a really poor career move by her part. Even though it may not mean anything, I just keep your mouth shut. That's kind of what I would say about it.
I'm going to give my take on Chelsea Green here, Hurls, and this may shock a lot of people, but women are fucking petty. That's all.
Shock.
Yeah, right.
Like, I know exactly what the fuck Chelsea Green wanted to chime in. She's a fucking female.
Yeah, that's true.
Listen,
All right,
Hurls.
okay.
Listen. If me and you, Hurls, get into a fight and I punch you in the face, and a few minutes later, if you walk up like, yo, let's go get a beer, yo, my bad, we acted like assholes, or I do vice versa to you and you punch me or whatever, yo, we're cool. We can have a beer, shoot a pool, we all right. A female, if another chick calls another chick a bitch, or I'm no even putting their hands on each other, if they say some random shit they disagree with, yo, they hate each other for like a decade.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. The only way they're going to become friends is if they find another female they hate worse.
And who said the HeelCast was sexist?
Oh, man, I'm getting in trouble for this one.
Oh, well, fuck them. The HeelCast, what do you expect at this point? I brought Chef on, for Christ's sake, with me. What do you motherfuckers expect? If you've gotten this far along and you're offended, I can keep it real. All right, my guys. So, I mean, look, let's get into some fucking results real fast. This show ran long with all this goddamn news. Let's see, let me pull up. So, Hurls did the review on Hard to Kill, so we're not going to go too much in. I'm just going to read some results. We had, it opens with, goddamn, where'd they go? So, it opens with fucking Ken Shamrock, the world's most dangerous senior citizen beating their giant Madman Fulton. The second match, we had Ace Austin defeating Trey Miguel. For some reason, he gets these shots instead of Desmond Xavier, which blows my mind. Ace Austin retaining. The Dork beat the guy who shouldn't have the shine that he does out of the group. How's that? Thank God, Taya Valkyrie retained against Jordan Disgrace, literally probably the only person worse than Tessa. And my girl ODB to retain the Knockouts Championship. Fantastic title reign for Taya. That girl is amazing. She has won me over. RVD versus Brian Cage. They kind of wrote Cage off TV. There was no painful. I took the Van Terminator. We know his injury. Daga, Tessa, Mr. Blanchard. Daga came out, wrestled and jobbed at RVD. 50-something-year-old RVD. Driving over fantastic new talent. Beating, sorry. From what I understand, match of the night was Eddie Edwards defeating Michael Elgin, which is no surprise to me, to retain his Call Your Shot trophy. Moose defeated Rhino, thank God. People talk about how much Tessa deserves to be the world champion and how she earned it. Moose has done that and then some, and so has Eddie and Elgin, especially Moose and Eddie, though, so I don't want to hear this shit. Willie Mack went without Rich Swann, who got hurt 2 nights before and lost to the North in the Tag Team Championship match. And, of course, we know that Tessa Blanchard defeated Sami Callihan for the world title. I didn't watch it. From what I heard from Hurls and BQ is that it was good but not great. I'm sure what Cody and Colby said was it was the greatest night of all time in professional wrestling history, and this company is so much better than everyone else, and everyone needs to pay attention, and yada, yada. So I'm going to take the people who actually are honest with me, word for it. Chef, anything you want to comment on the results, then we'll go to Hurls.
No, I mean, it sounded all right. I didn't watch Hard to Watch.
Boo. Is it on me now?
Yes,
Okay.
sir. I mean,
Okay.
I know you broke it down last night in more depth. If there's anything you just want to chime in, you know what I mean? The short version of what you want to say or anything on it.
Yeah, no, I honestly, I had a problem with how they used Daga, but RVD's new character, Katie Forbes, hilarious. I enjoyed it. I like his 2 girlfriends at ringside doing what they got to do. But no, Eddie Edwards and Michael Elgin, that fantastic match. Willie Mack, though, versus the North, I think that may have been match of the night. I mean, obviously, from everything we just talked about, Sammy and Tessa was really good. As far as, like, if I'm just basing it on a match-wise, it was really good. Finisher overkill.
Hold on, Hurls, hold on. Check it out. If you want to hear what Hurls has to say, don't listen to this shit no more. It's going to be loaded up, and make sure you listen and like that shit. That's basically, I'm not going to let him give you any more freebies. Listen to his fucking version of this shit and enjoy.
Yeah. I'm done. But I I don't know if there's anything else I can really comment on the show. Yeah, I was just going to say I didn't actually give it a score on the other show, but I'm just going to say I gave it like a 7.5 or an 8. So that's what I gave it out of 10.
I appreciate it. And yeah, check out Hurls' real version of it, motherfuckers. So, all right, now we're going to go into, I still don't know what I think about this product, but I'm trying to watch it because I know the Chef watches. I know that the AEW dude watches. My guy is there, and Eli Drake. Hurls, are you watching NWA Power?
I need to watch it more often, but I've been kind of slacking the past few weeks.
So, basically, I'm just going to kind of read over some stuff that's happened the past 2 weeks on the show. So 2 weeks ago, there's a TV title tournament going on. We had Zicky Dice, I haven't write that shit down, defeating Caleb Conley. Nick Aldis was going to be in the tournament, and then he dropped out of it for the TV title. You had Eli Drake and James Storm teaming up as opposed to feuding like they were on Impact, defeating Chef's Boy with the wild cards and a team of Colt Cabana and Mr. Anderson. And I'm not saying this wrong. Ricky Morton at fucking 70. So how old are the Rock and Roll Express, for fuck's sake? These are legit senior citizens. I know I joked about Shamrock being a senior citizen and shit. These are legit senior citizens.
No. They're like certified platinum AARP.
Yeah, I met the Rock and Roll Express when I was 13. I am 25, so I was 13 or 14. So this was 21 years ago. Yeah, and there was this indie event, and I'm telling you, this is a Tule Lake, California, which is about the size of my closet, fair back in 1998 or 99. And there was this little fucking indie show that came, PG-13, Doink the Clown, Rock and Roll Express, Tatanka, where there was big names there. These dudes were washed up when I got their autograph 21 years ago. They are now the NWA Tag Team Champions at this day and age of 2019 to 20. And now Ricky Morton is pushing for a title shot against Nick Aldis. And I'll get this a little bit more in a sec here. Closing out the show, we saw Nick Aldis has this new group, his faction called Strictly Business. I think it's cool to see Magnus and Bram back together. Bram's Boo is in there as tag team partner. And then they unveiled the other member, which was Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner, to close off the show. The show that happened just a couple days ago came out. You had the Dawson brothers against each other in the TV title tournament. It was Zayn defeats Dave. I don't think anyone gives a shit. These guys are booked kind of bad, in my opinion. But that's going on. We had the return of Melina from WWE fame. Jesus Christ, the last time she's been relevant, she defeated Ashley Vox. The Pope is here. It seems like he's a manager for Outlaw Inc., Homicide in Kingston. And you would think the Pope behind him as a manager, and with that hot fire promo, Pope being Pope is spoken Daddy Jack. They go out and lose their match right immediately afterwards to Aaron Stevens, formerly Aaron Rex, to Damian Sandow, and the question mark. And I'm actually going to give Aaron Stevens props. He's actually made me laugh with his stupid gimmick. And then it closed out with the team of Robert Gibson, Eli Drake, and Tim, not James Storm, but someone else who's damn near senior citizen level, defeating Tom Latimer, a.k.a. Bram, Royce, and Scott Steiner, meaning that Robert Gibson gets an NWA title shot against Nick Aldis. And I guess I'm going to kick the Chef right after this, but I don't know if I like this show or not. I love Eli Drake. I love James Storm. I miss them. I love Bram. It's good to see Pope again. There's some guys in there that, I'm a fan of, that it's nice to see them get their shot. I don't understand a lot of these booking decisions, and some of them scratch my head a lot. For crying out loud, I don't know why Trevor Murdoch is not only wrestling still, but actually winning matches against people he has no business beating. And this guy was literally never over in the WWE, was never over as Jethro, whatever, in TNA. And he hasn't been on TV or relevant for like damn near 10 years. And all of a sudden this guy appears on NWA and he's winning matches. And I don't understand a lot of these bookings. I know there's a couple shows left on the tapings, and I'll give it a shot, but I've seen my version of Billy Corgan's Pro Wrestling before this, and I didn't like it. And the one thing I'll say too is that he's just got some good talents and some talkers, and I like the old throwback motto, but there has not been a match that stood out on this NWA show. Chef, what's your thoughts with NWA lately?
All right. Huge fan of the beginning process. This, what it started. All right. I earlier complained about dinosaurs, right? And I was taking shots at 50, 60-year-old guys. This is like, I don't even know how to complain about the Rock and Roll Express because I don't have an age joke to go at them. Listen, they were washed up they were almost 40 years ago, 30. They were cool maybe 30, 40 years ago. Let's say that. Okay, it's 2020, the Rock and Roll Express, and I hate the word nostalgia because everybody wants to throw it around to defend some old person that comes through their promotion. The nostalgia, okay, fine. You want to have nostalgia? Have them lose to fucking Bram and Royce Isaac. They don't got to beat them. That's fucking nuts. Royce Isaac, he's a big, buff, young dude. Bram is a fucking monster. These two dinosaurs or whatever you crypt keepers, they have no business beating them. Now you got this guy running through. He's going to have a title shot for Sweet Charlotte. And I do love the way that fucking Magnus says that shit. He has no business in that position. I have no problem with Tim Storm. When I first seen him, I was kind of like, yo, who is this old guy? He's grown on me. The guy still goes in the ring. He still looks pretty good. You know, I like Tim Storm. I'm a little biased with it because he grew on me. But you have Eli Drake sitting there. You got the fake Rock, Ricky. I always forget his name. But I remember Bram saying he was going to be a star before NWA even showed up, and I like the kid. You have all this talent that's sitting there, and once again, like I bitched about Impact, you have these old, I can't even really knock Impact for bringing the ECW guys because they're like 20, 30 years younger than those dudes. You know what I'm saying? But you have all these dudes that are floating around, free agents everywhere. You got to bring Scott Steiner, and I'm a huge Scott Steiner fan, but come on, the guy is finished already. You know, let these older guys live on the independents. Let them have their fun because you know what? On the independents, young kids and everything else, like, holy shit, it's an NWO guy, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. Like I said, I'm a fan of NWA. I'm just kind of in between, what the fuck are we doing here, fellas? Because I get it. I'm enjoying, and then all of a sudden there's a match comes up like Trevor Murdoch. I'm not feeling it. Melina, to be completely honest with you, I didn't know what to expect, and she looked real good in the ring, so I was pleasantly surprised about that because she looked just as good as I last seen her, so I respected it. But the up and down it's really hard to try to. I'm trying to stay super loyal and keep watching because it's the only American product I watch hardcore like that. You know, I do watch AEW, you know, on and off here and there, but NWA is my shit. They do need to work the kinks because, listen, Rock and Roll Express should not be a thing in 2020.
I mean, my thing with the Rock and Roll Express is they were brought on AEW before they came on to the NWA. And they were treated as the way that they should be, as senior citizens who it was fucked up that Santana and Ortiz jumped these guys and beat their ass. And it's like, damn, they beat up these old-ass geriatric legends, these legendary tag team, let's get the revenge for them. They come to NWA, it's one thing, okay, you do a little cheap nostalgia thing, we can laugh at it, they won the tag team champions from Bram and Royce on the wild cards. They beat them fucking twice. What in the fuck is going on? I don't know. That's all I'm saying on it, Hurls. What you been thinking at the NWA?
I respect that they're trying to kind of go a different direction than a lot of these other wrestling companies go. They're trying to go more not the indie spot fest style that's kind of gotten very popular over the years. But the problem is, when you bring in Rock and Roll Express and they win the titles at the ages they're at, okay, you can maybe see maybe they got some fluke victory because some other guys came in and beat up the opponent and they got a quick roll up and, they got a thank you run for a week. But like you said, they are winning constantly and they're going over Bram. Gosh, look at the guy. He should be world champion, But I just don't. Yeah, I don't know what to think of it. the nostalgia thing of it with the way it looks and the no theme music, it's like, I don't know, it's hard to get used to. I think Magnus has done a really good job. Like, if we would have saw this Magnus in TNA when he was champion then, I think it would have been great, because his run was terrible when he finally got to be world champion. But the Nick Aldis that we're seeing now is, I mean, he's way improved. So I don't know.
Nick Aldis is one of the best champs I think I've seen in a while. That dude is killing it.
Yeah, he really is, and I wasn't a huge fan of him before, but I think he's definitely putting on one of the best title runs right now in any company. But you look at their roster, and I like some of their roster. I like what they're doing. They're kind of going, like, when a lot of companies are zigging, they're zagging, but they got to figure out, like, who should be going over and who shouldn't be going over, because right now, like, I mean, I got Rock and Roll Express right now should not be tag team champions and looking strong, but I don't know, maybe Billy Corgan was like a big fanboy of theirs or something, who knows?
I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah, Alistair's improved miles, man. He really is, and I agree with you guys there, especially with him being the better champion. I think all signs should be, logically should be pointing to a build eventually with Eli Drake and Aldis being their big match, where Drake's going to come over and become the face of the company. I think Drake is everything Aldis is, but a step above in all aspects, and I feel like that's what they should be building to, but we'll see. Anything else before we hop on to AEW? Close out the show.
Nope.
All right, so I'm going to just kind of go over AEW the past couple of weeks, too. Like I said, I've been wanting to talk AEW since it started. I have not been on the HeelCast that long. Really hoping next week to really break down the ins and outs or criticisms, the things that we like, roster, all that. We just don't have the time after this show today. So going back to last week, we had Omega and Page defeating Private Party. They then became the number one contenders for the Tag Team Championship just yesterday on Dynamite, winning the four-way match. We had Rio defeating Statlander 2 weeks ago with the Nightmare Collective interfering. And really what actually was a decent women's match until all that shit started happening. They debuted a new member in the Nightmare Collective by the name of Luther. And if you thought that Brandy and everything going on with the Nightmare Collective was bad, when they brought this guy in, it was just painful to watch. This guy's mannerisms and everything is just cringeworthy, and this is just fucking absolute terrible gimmick that's got to go or got to improve. And this guy literally doesn't belong in wrestling, in my opinion, just from looking at him. We had Pentagon Jr. coming out and distracting Christopher Daniels, where Sammy Guevara, the Spanish God, rolled him, got a cheap win. Then the Dark Order jumps them, and there's a big brawl. The Rhodes Brothers defeated the Lucha Brothers. I love Dustin Rhodes. I feel he is better than his brother ever was, or he's better than Cody was, better than Dusty was. I like him more than anyone in his family. In 2020, Dustin Rhodes, as great a shape as he is, as much as I like this guy, had no business pinning Pentagon, and I'm still upset about it. DDP was coerced into returning next week. The show that just happened by MJF, who said he was going to bang his daughter. That's what the Salt of the Earth does. The Jurassic Express defeating the Best Friends and Orange Cassidy. And then we had the ending segment where Jon Moxley joins the Inner Circle, and in my opinion, the show needs to focus more of, because they're a much better faction than they're showing on TV. And he joined it, and then I thought it was very funny the way that he, told Jericho, no, actually, I don't want any of it. Broke the bubbly over his head, stole his car, all that. And then we had the Bash at the Beach show 2 nights ago, which apparently WWE may be suing him over the name. And Hurls, actually, I know you said on the chat yesterday, what I've been thinking is, Bash at the Beach was a July pay-per-view at WCW. Why the fuck are we doing Bash at the Beach in January? Because ain't nobody thinking about the beach in the middle of winter. We also had Cody Rhodes accept MJF's challenge. I believe February 19th he's going to meet Wardlow in the cage, progressing the Joey Janela and Kip Sabian feud. And really, why on earth would they want to give Joey Janela that much talking time and then go with the next match into their god-awful women's division. It's almost like they were trying to actually get people to watch NXT with that. We had the Nightmare Collective against Chris Statlander and Sheeta. I believe Statlander and Sheeta won. Truthfully, I walked away. This women's division fucking sucks, and they need to scrap it until they get some better women out there. Use Kong, use Ali. I understand Evil East wrestled for their dark, or not Evil East, but Diamante. Get some better fucking talent, because this is garbage. We had John Moxley defeating Sammy Guevara, and then the Inner Circle jumped him, hit him with a spike in his eye. DDP came out, and him, Dustin Rhodes, and fucking QT Marshall losing to MJF, the Balding Blade, and the Butcher, with MJF getting the roll up on the bum. QT Marshall had no business being in that match. And then main event was Pac defeating Darby Allin. So next week we've got it set up on the Jericho Cruise. Moxley versus Pac. Winner is going to be the number one contender. Chef, your thoughts on AEW Dynamite the past couple weeks?
Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty good. And the only thing I want to say is that I enjoyed their roster. I think it's really good. They got a lot of people they're bringing up. But their women's division does suck. And with all the amazing female talent that's out there, I don't understand how they don't. I mean, shit, get a few girls and all of a sudden your division looks amazing. The products were really good, though. I mean, I didn't like Dean Ambrose. I like John Moxley. I don't have an issue with WWE. Like most people, I don't watch it, but I think he's been great over here. Jericho's amazing. He's still a big draw. So, I mean, they're doing a lot of the right things. But I do think with all the great tag teams they have, I think they're putting the wrong people at the top of the order.
Yeah, I think the show is just like they got like you said, a really, really strong roster. The booking, though, to me, they don't have a clue right now. Like, why is Kenny Omega, who should be your Sting, right? I think he should be AEW's Sting type wrestler, where he's kind of like the guy that just always kind of overcomes the odds. Now they got Moxley at the top, yeah, he should be there, but he's kind of like a Piper. He's kind of like a lunatic, you know. So Pac is great. Love Pac. I hope to see him win the title. I think he's super, super talented. A lot of the new guys that they have, a lot of the guys that they kind of just plucked from the indies, I have not been impressed too much from. Darby Allin kind of impressed me a little bit, but at the same time, he's tiny. He's like Rockstar Spud, but can do more in the ring, obviously. Dark Order, I can't buy that at all because it's just kind of been forced down our throats right now, and I don't know. I am not feeling Dark Order. Loved that they brought DDP back, speaking of dinosaurs, but still, I'm a DDP mark, always have been in WCW. I enjoyed that. Yeah.
Why are you trying to avoid Orange Cassidy? How do you feel about him?
Oh, gosh. Please. Oh, man. The guy sticks his hand in the pockets, does the slow motion kicks. The fans love it, but you know what? I think the fans are wrong about this one. I gotta say, I am not a fan of. I am also not a fan of Joey Ryan, by the way. So I don't want to be called biased or anything. I cannot stand the dick flip move. Okay, it's the same thing with Orange Cassidy. I cannot stand the slow motion kick spot he has. Yeah, he looks funny. He reminds me of like Bernie from Weekend at Bernie's, kind of. Like, I don't know what gimmick he's kind of going for, but you know what I mean? That's kind of like what he reminds me of, and I don't know why, but that's what he reminds me of. I think that they have way too many gothic groups, Nightmare Collective, Dark Order, those are hard to pull off. Like, those are like probably some of the hardest to pull off. I mean, and they got a bunch of them, and I don't know, like, I really want to like AEW, but I think, like, honestly, I could do way better if I was Booker. They have such an awesome roster. I don't like how I don't like how some of the tag teams are being used. Like you said, Lucha Brothers, they should be a bigger deal. Young Bucks are featured, but they're just kind of like, that team that they send out there to have a great match, and that's kind of about it. You know what I mean? So they need they need to. I think they got to elevate Kenny Omega. They got to put him in a better spot. They're really pushing Hangman Page. I'm not a huge fan of him. He reminds me of Barry Windham, and I always thought Barry Windham was boring as piss. I don't know. Their women's division, like you said, I think it's absolutely awful. I do not know what they see in half these girls. I saw that Chris Statlander. She was on an Impact Twitch show. I thought she was green as grass. And they got some other talented wrestlers. Don't get me wrong. I think their Japanese wrestlers are talented, but they're not someone.
They're not going to get over.
No, exactly. And why not push Kong? Like, they're not using Kong. They're not using Allie. I don't know what they're doing.
Shanna's good.
Yeah, Shanna too. So I don't really know what they're doing booking wise. I like their roster. I love Tony Schiavone. I want to say, because they're on TNT, they got that like kind of WCW-esque vibe to them. But they gotta make some better booking decisions. But I do like how they are using Moxley. Obviously, I think and Jericho, obviously. Inner Circle's pretty cool. I do like Jake Hager's looked pretty cool. But that's basically my whole thoughts on AEW.
Of course, my thoughts on AEW, I'm going to get a lot more into it the next time we do this show. I will say, I pretty much do echo a lot of the constructive criticism and complaints that Hurls and Chef have. And really, there's not a lot that they say that I disagree with too much. That said, I do want to say I love AEW, man. This is my brand. I love the shows. I tune in. I'm happy about it. I do feel since Full Gear they've lost some steam on their shows and they haven't been the same. But I don't want to come off negative because this is the only wrestling I really watch other than NWA. I love what they're doing, and I can't wait to see them grow. I'm going to be doing this show more often for AEW, analyze it more. So anyone listening to this, please don't think this is negative bashing AEW. I'm going to say my positive stuff for the next time I'm out. But I am excited for the next pay-per-view. I'm excited for Moxley, Jericho, hopefully use the Lucha Brothers better. And I'm just going to close it out by asking Hurls this question. Hurls, last night when you watched the show, didn't you?
Yeah, I watched the whole show.
So when the Inner Circle was jumping John Moxley and beating him down for that spike went in his eye and all, did you hear what the crowd was chanting?
Were they chanting Scotty Riggs?
They weren't. What they were chanting, and I'll give you one hint, it's freshly squeezed.
Orange.
Orange.
Oh, God.
The guy is so fucking over. All right.
Wait.
All right, fellas.
Wait, can we, do we have time to comment on Hardy or Rusev or no? Should we save it?
Oh, man. Saving that for today. Chef's got to get to bed, man. I know he's got to get up early. It's midnight his time. We got a 2-hour show.
You're right.
Well, I promise you, I will bring that up when I got you on the air, though. How's that?
Sounds good.
All right. So, Chef, Hurls, anything else you guys want to say before we get out?
No, this was a fun.
No.
This was a fun show.
Right. Absolutely. So, look, this is the RVE signing out. I want to thank everyone for listening to the HeelCast. You tuning in. We should be doing a lot more stuff. Check out Hurls' Hard to Kill review. I want to thank my special guests, Pap and Hurls, and Notorious Chef. All right. RVE, HeelCast out. We'll see you next week.